The Falkland Islands are a remote and beautiful cluster of islands located in the South Atlantic, approximately 300 miles east of the southern Patagonian coast. The country is home to just under 3,000 people, 500,000 sheep and an abundant range of wildlife. As an overseas territory of the United Kingdom, islanders rely on the British forces to guarantee their security. Mount Pleasant Complex is based 30 miles southwest of the island's capital, Stanley, and composes of military personnel from the British Army, Royal Air Force and Royal Navy, who provide a range of support to the archipelago as well as South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands. However, the Falklands maintain its own part-time volunteer force known as the FIDF. The Falkland Islands Defence Force is organised as a light infantry company and follows the doctrine of the British Army.
It's got a long and quite colourful history, really, which obviously one of the focus points was 1982, and I think really at that time it did come as a bit of a shock to everybody, a full-scale invasion. Otherwise things would have been slightly better prepared. However, here we are now, and I think there's nothing like something like that to focus people in the long term so that they prepare better.
Manned entirely by the local population, the unit aims to assist in the defence of their islands if required,
down. Finish him off.
And use their skills and specialist knowledge of the Falkland Islands and its terrain to provide support to the British military.
We have an excellent working relationship with Mount Pleasant. We train with them from time to time, and obviously, if it came to military operations, we'd be working side by side with them. Over the years, there has been some not confusion, but some lack of clarity really about what was expected of the FIDF and how the FI could best serve the Falklands. But I think we've resolved that now. The main defensive capability in the Falkland Islands is, of course, with British forces, South Atlantic Islands at Mount Pleasant. But the purpose of the FIDF is to assist British forces South Atlantic Islands in any way that they can. And so our aim is to have a well-trained, well-equipped and highly motivated force that can perform a wide range of military activities anywhere in the Falkland Islands with relative ease. One of our force multipliers is our local knowledge. We know the ground, we know how to travel over the ground quickly, and we know a lot of things about the local conditions that people who have just arrived here might not know. So that is it's a big force multiplier for the Defence Force. I believe now the FIDF is probably more useful in every way than it has been before. We try to be flexible and versatile and quite wide in what we do, and we have to cover quite a few different areas. But that's a good thing, really, for running a force of mainly part-time personnel, because that variety helps keep people interested and motivated in what they do.
The staff at FIDF aim to make the unit as useful as possible to the Falkland Islands Government and Commander of the British Forces South Atlantic Islands. With an annual recruitment drive, the FIDF are constantly looking to build and improve their force. For Queen and Country will be following this year's new recruits as they face challenges of the 12-week basic training course they'll undergo to learn the intricate skill set needed for soldiering. Colour Sergeant Trev Law has been attached to the unit for the last 3 years as a permanent staff instructor. Having been in the Royal Marines for 25 years, Trevor has brought an abundance of experience to the islands, which he uses to ensure the task force is up to date with current tactics used within the British military and to develop the FIDF standard operating procedures.
Since I've come here, we've changed some of the tactics that the FIDF use, mainly mobility now. It's important that we get as many people in to make sure all those skills are current. and to learn the new skill that we actually do, and we've started putting it together now very well. The recruits now should just slot into it. We're going on the patrols. Some of them are on that. As soon as they pass out, they'll be on those patrols, so they can straight away get, this is how we operate. Recruit training is basics, all the basics, all the live firing and everything's all from scratch, from being on a range, then to movement, and all the way up to troop attacks with WMICs and things and support. We then take that, put that to one side until next September, which is going to be the recruits again, and that'll be the basics again, and then we'll basically build on that, and all the people that are in the FIDF will basically come to all the other bits of training and just hone their skills on the new skill set that I've introduced.
The latest recruitment drive saw 9 males of ages 20 to 40 sign up to join the current men and women serving in the Falkland Islands Defence Force, in the hope to obtain the rank of private in 3 months' time. For the first 3 weeks of training, the recruits were given 8 lessons on the main weapon system used by the FIDF, the 5.56 Stayer rifle.
Just watch me. Okay.
Warrant Officer 2 Paul Watson has been training volunteers to use the machinery used by the unit for the past 17 years, in his role as a permanent staff member.
You break it down to sections, so they're just learning bits as they go along, so you actually sort of teach, and you start off by teaching the lessons 1 to 18. It sounds a lot for one rifle to be taught, but you have to teach them because you have to assume that they've never touched a weapon before, and the drills have to be really good. They have to know it inside out, so and it does take time. I mean, for example, some of the lessons you have 3 40-minute periods. Some people pick up really quick and some don't, and you have to allow for the people that don't.
Release the barrel.
And we use a system whereby we explain to them what they're going to do. And then the instructor will then demonstrate it, and then they imitate it. And they go through that 2 or 3 times to make sure they've got the drills correct.
I'm Jacob Foote, I'm 26, I'm currently a recruit with the FIDF and just started the recruit training programme. Enjoying it, it's only our second night so far, so not had a huge amount of experience with it yet, but looking forward to getting stuck into it. I've used shotguns before at home, but never a military weapon, so there's quite a lot more components than I'm used to, but it's not too bad. I've had a chat to all the boys, everyone seems quite happy, so I think we'll all be okay, yeah. Not got too many worries at the moment, there's quite a few of us just joined up, so we're all in it together really.
With some of them having never touched a weapon, the recruits began their training with lessons in rifle maintenance in order to get familiar with the weapon and its various components. Cleaning the rifle is something the recruits will have to get used to, as it is a task that needs to be carried out on a regular basis and after any exercise where they'll be firing live rounds.
Be happy with it and then leave it stripped.
The Stayer is a gas-operated weapon, and it produces a lot of carbon on the working parts, on the piston and the gas plug. You need to build up a carbon, and if you don't take the carbon off, it'll actually block up some of the gas ports, and then the weapon will fail to fire. It won't function, so it's quite important that they're kept clean whenever they get the chance, and also oiled, well oiled as well, especially the working parts of the weapon. Again, if it's like any machine, if it's not oiled, it'll just dry up and seize up.
Before the recruits are allowed to use the rifles in either blank or live firing exercises, instructors must ensure each handler is 100% familiar with the weapon and can carry out their drills safely and effectively under pressure.
3, 4, we're copying each other, 20 press-ups. What's full inspection?
I mean, a weapon is just an extension of the person, really. The discipline side of it is that they have to get these drills right. They need to be able to work safely amongst their own people, but also effectively against the enemies. And if they haven't got that discipline where they aren't doing the drills correct and the weapon fails to function, or they don't change the magazine as quickly as possible and get the weapon firing again, then it could result in their sort of demise. It's very important they're very good at these drills, very slick and on the ball.
It's no game. There is always the possibility that one day these recruits may have to use their rifles for real. In fact, Paul joined the Defence Force as a volunteer after witnessing the effects of the 1982 Argentine invasion of the Falklands.
During the conflict I was 15 years old, so I was old enough to see what went on. I joined in 1984, 2 years after the conflict, and seen a fair bit what happened here, what went on, and I thought, well, you know, I felt I had to join up and defend my country, really, if need be.
Adopt the prone position. Line position. Prone.
That's what you joined for, really. Yeah. They have, heaven forbid, wouldn't want it to happen, but certainly in the back of, hopefully in the back of everyone's mind, that they will have to do it for real one day. May have to. So yeah, I'd like to think that they have that sort of thought process in the back of their mind, and deep down, I mean, it's sort of difficult to tell with everybody, but yeah, hopefully that is the attitude they got. Yeah, I think by and large it is, yeah, but they may have to do it for real one day, yeah. Otherwise, there's no point in them being here, really.
Yeah. Well, in 1982, the Defence Force, as it was then, was deployed together with the Royal Marine detachments who were here on the 1st of April 1982 to defend the Falkland Islands. Now that was a huge task, and they knew there was an overwhelming force coming this way. And so whatever happened, it was going to be a token effort. But it was a token effort that could have ended very badly, and all very, relatively well for the defending forces. As it was, 32 members of the Defence Force turned out to man defensive positions around Stanley, and then on early next day, of course, all the defending forces were ordered to lay down their weapons by the Governor, Sir Rex Hunt. And on reflection, I think he made quite a good decision to cease activity at that time. Following the surrender of the defending forces, the Defence Force was largely dispersed. Some of them were sent to exile at Fox Bay, and others were told to go back to their normal activities. And many of them actually went on to assist the British forces recover the Falkland Islands, as did many other members of the Falkland Islands community. Now, I wasn't in the FIDF in 1982, and I felt very guilty about that. It brought home to me that the defence of where you live is a very personal thing, and you shouldn't really just rely on other people to do it. So I decided then that if ever a fiasco like that happened again, then I'd be in a better position to do something about it. So I joined in 1983. I think everybody should be responsible for the defence of where they live, their country.
Purposely this year I went for mainly a Falkland Islanders, young Falkland Islanders, someone who's going to be here for a few years, and out of the 9 we've got 7 of them are Falkland Islanders, young Falkland Islanders, which is really good. Because they're going to be here the longest, obviously, and it makes sense to have them there the longest. However, contract officers bring a lot to the party as well. We've got a few in the FIDF. Some of them have got TA experience as officers, etc., and they can bring a lot to the party within the FIDF, and it's good to have them on side as well for the time that they're down here.
Jacob hasn't had any previous military experience, but he's proving to have great potential in the island's Defence Force. Despite not originating from the islands, Jacob felt the recruits were already bonding.
Most of us sort of knew each other anyway, with it being quite a small community. It wasn't like we'd never met each other before. Like, one of the guys is my boss's boss at work, so I knew him. And as a couple of the younger lads, I knew just from seeing around town and talking to people when you're out and about as well. But yeah, we are all getting on quite well. I think everyone else actually is local. I think I'm the only one that's a contractor that's joining up in this group of people anyway. There's a couple of the recruits, Marcus and Colin. They've actually done all their recruits training before and used to be privates in the FIDF a few years ago, but for whatever reasons left and have decided to come back now. So they're doing the same recruits training as we are, but it's more of like a refresher for them, just to update them on whatever's changed in the couple of years that they've been away. So they broadly know what's going on, so we can ask them for a bit of advice or whatever if we're not sure or something as well. I think I'm quite good at trying to put a positive spin on things. If things aren't going too well, I think I always try and find something good to say about it, to try and keep everyone cheered up and I suppose motivated. Yeah, so hopefully I'll play that role. Especially with the weather like it can be here, I think one of the main things would just be to you know, stay cheerful and keep a positive frame of mind, really. Obviously no one likes all being wet and windy and everything, but I think if you can stay reasonably happy and still have a laugh and a joke, then it makes it easier for you and everyone else as well then. I've got a little bit hardened off to the weather since I've been here, although it's a bit brutal.
So what do your family think about you joining the FIDF?
I've not told them yet. My mum and sister and grandparents will probably be a bit nervous. My dad will be quite happy, I think, but he's actually coming down to visit me in about two or 3 weeks' time. So rather than try and explain it all over Skype and everything, I thought I'll wait till he comes down here and then I can explain to him in detail what's going on and everything. But I think he'll be quite glad, really. Yeah, I think he'll be quite happy with it.
The recruits have a busy schedule laid on for them by the staff in the FIDF until their pass-out parade in just 10 weeks' time.
It's just some of the documentation they go to all the new recruits, basically. It's a breakdown of the training that we're going to be doing over the next couple of months. So this is all through September up as far as the end of October. That's when our recruits training actually finishes. So it's obviously been quite handy to have a look through and a bit of a read ahead and see what's coming up. But it's quite all packed in quite tight, really. I think we've got a lot to learn and quite a fair bit to get through. They've issued us with our own rifle now, so I just made a note of which one mine is. So every time we go in for training, it's the same. Although all the weapons are the same, you keep your own personal one, and we've got lockers for all our kit. And then that's my number, F577. So we sort of write with a black marker pen on your helmet and webbing and all that sort of stuff, so you know, because obviously everyone's kit's the same, but so you can identify what yours is. The number is just basically a number, and F is because my last name is Foot, so it's just the first letter of your last name and then a number as well. I've got my boots and belt and everything here, and one of our, this is like the normal belt we wear for training, and then this is another one which is for different sorts of duties. Trousers, t-shirt, shirt, and a smock as well, like a overcoat sort of thing, as well as all the equipment that we've been issued. They've given all of us one of these as well, the soldier's pocketbook. I think it's aimed mainly at the regular British forces, not directly at the FIDF, but obviously, you know, things are all broadly the same. We've started doing some marksmanship principles in different shooting positions, either like lying down prone or squatting or standing shooting positions. And there's all the different things in here explains, you know, which position is suitable for what sort of scenario and things like that. I've been making a few notes because they're telling us things we need to be reading up on as well, because most of our training's on like a Tuesday and a Thursday evening, but there's also obviously time in between that to sort of do a bit of your own revision of what you've been doing in the previous lesson, ready to go through it again on the Thursday then.
You sound like a very good student.
Well, I just want to get it right. Obviously, we've all like made small mistakes and things in the training, but I'm just trying to learn it as quick as I can and make sure that I got it drilled in and know exactly what I'm doing. Not haven't achieved that yet, but that's what I'm trying for.
The first weekend exercise looms in the distance for the new recruits, but Jacob remains optimistic.
Yeah, we're looking forward to this really. It's at the end of this month, end of September, so it's an all-day Saturday night, and then Sunday morning. There's a bit of detail here of what we're going to be going through, but we don't actually know where we're going yet. We've been trying to dig to try and get a bit of more information out of them, but they won't really let on much, so we're expecting some kind of surprise really. But it'd be good to get overnight somewhere, and there's different things like constructing a bivvy, all that sort of stuff, so we're all obviously going out together for that. We're expecting we'll probably have to walk quite a distance, then set up the camp, set up the bivvy and everything, probably have something happening overnight, I can presume, because they don't want to let on too much information, so by that you can sort of work out that something's going to happen. But that'll be good, yeah, hopefully the weather won't be too bad. But I have to wrap up warm with thermals on and all that, and see how it goes.
We do quite a lot of contractors come in, but of course the contractors, yeah, most of them are only here for 2 or 3, maybe 4 years at the most, but there's something else for them to do, and yes, we encourage that, because having a mixture of contractors and islanders, it helps to sort of integrate these sort of people together, because sometimes contractors come here and just get in their own little clique and don't mix in, not all of them, but has been now, and for them to join the FIDF, they get to meet more people, so it is good, it is healthy for the force, yeah.
The first step is their first exercise, first time they go out in the field and basically learn to live in the field and all the basics. Unlike marine training, where we've got a lot of time to do this, we've only got like a long weekend to do this. So we squeeze in a bit more than we would doing the normal training, where you just go out and camp overnight. When we go out, they're going to learn how to live in the field using rations and cooking and bivvies and everything. But they're also going to do camouflage and concealment, movement with and without weapons, section attacks type stuff, judging distance. There's going to be all their basic skills are going to be honed straight away. It's not just for the recruits, it's for everyone just to re-hone their skills at that level, and they'll be taught other stuff that they may not have seen before.
Atop of the chilly heights of Mount William, the recruits eagerly start their first part of their training weekend. This is the first time the recruits will utilise all they've learnt in the classroom environment and put it to the test.
2 or 3 hours in now. We just got dropped off at Savile Hill in the Rovers, and then we walked up from there all the way up round to here, put our bashes up, and now we come up here to a little area to do some practice on judging different distances and range finding, that sort of stuff.
First on the recruits' agenda is judging distance, and there's already friendly competition among the group.
270 to 320, then you've got 2 points. 1 point, isn't it? 1 point, I keep forgetting. Okay. You'll see a rock sloping out on an angle like that, okay, nearly 45 degrees. Okay, give me a range where Ben was standing. Give me a range to the base of that.
You reckon? Yeah, like you do. Yeah. No, I'm fucking going for it. What is that? I've got an inbuilt laser tag, mate. Robocop.
290 for 2 points, 270, 321.
We might be looking at the wrong track, man. You were looking at town, mate. Oh, I see. There's another track here. Look. We were looking at this one over here. So we were looking over that one.
Yeah, of course you were.
No, we were, seriously.
Previous to this, all we've really done is stuff in the classroom and the theory, which is obviously very useful, but it's nice to actually get out and put it into practice and have a bit of a competition guessing between us all as well.
You've got a disco ball hanging off the fence. Spin it. The old dead straight. Go on the corn.
Just had a little 5-minute rest stop now, and then about ready to crack on again.
My book bag. I've got socks, boxes.
The recruits carry on with their training to learn about the intricacies of subterfuge. Understanding the art of camouflage is a necessity for most military forces around the world, but especially for the ranks of the FIDF, who have vast, open surroundings with little in the way of trees, bushes or other foliage to cover the troops.
You need your lunch there.
Stay there. Keep looking, lads, up into the rock.
For an FIDF member, being able to hide in plain sight in all types of terrain is vital.
Keep looking, lads, up into the rock. Up his head and shoulders, yeah, the shape of his body. Okay, just turn around, mate. Okay, because of the ground he was in, he went for that colour cam. What you don't want to do is grab all the grass from where you're actually hiding, so you have to move away, grab it from somewhere else and bring it into the area. We've got about 30 of these back at FIDF. It's got a hood on it, you can take it off if you want. 2 arms, okay, and it's basically Hessian glued on.
Trev explains how war paint is another key part of the group's concealment training, teaching them to blend into their surroundings.
Big blob brown face, okay? Which, Mickey, when you're busy. There's 3 different types of cam there. Yeah, they're not really too much too little just right, because they're not actually that bad. But he needed it for that grassy area there. Okay, mate, step away. That's not the best then. Okay, you see here what we're doing is we're trying to break up the cheekbones, structure of the face. Okay, maybe a little bit more required. More required on this one because it needs your ears doing. Okay, so you need to make sure your ears are done, and you'd normally go down and white your neck as well. If you've got like a V-neck, when you open your jacket and you've got a V-neck top on, obviously all that needs to be cammed out as well. We'll go through that again, because someone will put too much on, someone will put not enough on. Okay, some people just go through the motions and literally just go. That's me, I'm good to kill, I'm well cammed out now, and then yeah, obviously you're not breaking up your position there.
Back at base camp, the recruits have already set up their bivvy bags and bashers ready for an hour's sleep in the wilderness and harsh winds.
Not really expecting my usual 8 hours kip, to be honest, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. Yeah, I'll see what happens. I think we've got some surprises in store.
The troops now prepare themselves for their first firing manoeuvres in the field. Loading their weapons with blank ammunition, they readily prepare themselves for a physically demanding exercise. But first they must hone their skills and master the basics without using live rounds.
It's called when we're in extended line. The man on the right fires around. It's deliberate fire, but instead of it one person doing it, every person takes it in turn. Fire, shout your name. Fire, shout his name. Fire, shouts his name. Fire. Goes right down the line. The last man does a double tap, fires around, fires a second round, shouts his name, and then it comes back up. So it just goes do. It's to conserve ammunition.
But there's still rounds going down all the time.
Yeah. And make sure your admin's set, water bottle's full.
150 rounds to get through now.
150.
The manoeuvre exercises will give the recruits a grounding for how to act when ambushed or when attacking an enemy.
Okay, these guys put fire down. This is the LSW gunner. They're getting fire down the range. It's important you don't move until fire's going down. Okay, it's quite vital that the enemies. This unit's put fire onto the enemy before you move. You'll try not to cross over into his fire, and also keep the bound short as well. Important to keep the bound short. Once you get knackered, you'll find that your bounds tend to get longer and start waving all over the place. It's important to keep your bounds short and also be tactically aware of where your buddy is. Okay, keep decent spacing. If you keep your bounds short and decent spacing between you and your mate, the chances are you won't cross over on his arc of fire. Okay. Everyone happy with that? Right. And I'll shout move and up he goes. He gets up, wiggles, zigzags forward about 5-10 metres down, changes position, starts putting fire down. Happy with that? Slightly right, 2 enemy in the open. Fire!
Bang, bang, bang,
Bang.
bang,
Bang.
bang, bang.
Move!
Bang.
Yep. Bang, 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 bang. In it, tugs your front, go on.
Bang!
Bang.
Move! Bang!
Get used to the FIDF bang attack. Oh yeah, no, you get some people that are like, oh my god, I wish it was blank because it's quieter than you are.
Bang! Bang! Bang!
And then you get some that are just lying there, just go, bang, bang. Oh yeah, bang.
Everyone guys, everyone look again. Ross fires around, Colin does. On the end, you fire 2 rounds. Okay. Then it goes back down the line. And the purpose of this is to keep the enemy suppressed, but not to use up 2 ammunition. So he's constantly got a round going on to his position all the time. Okay? With blank ammunition, guys, with this, you will get lots of stoppages. Okay? 2 sections, 100. Rapid, fire! Ripple fire, ripple fire! From left to right, go on! Move! Go on! Go!
How do recruits normally find the initial exercise?
They usually don't find it too stressful because it's designed to be a fairly easy one. Really, it's an introduction to them living in the field.
When you move off, you can either move straight off, or you can do what we call a peel off. Okay, so basically he peels off first, he follows him. As they come past, gives him a kick, he peels off, and off they go. That's where we'll do this. I'll move around. Happy with that? When you're peeling off, make sure the guy you go past, give him a kick on the boot, prepare to move, give him a couple of seconds to go, and then you follow off, and the guy you pass, you do the same. And ideally, you want an angle of attack, suppression, fire support to assault of 90 degree angle. Okay, it's a bit less for that. We'll move into position, okay, across open terrain, get to a point, and you'll lob the grenade in. Once the grenade goes in, don't hit him. You've got to go roaring in there and clear the position. Okay, screaming and shouting, bayonet fixed, blood curdling. and with an attitude to kill.
War face on.
Just a thing, guys, with blank firing, don't point your weapon directly at the enemy with blank firing attachment on if you're under 30 metres. So when you clear the position, don't actually point your weapon right at the guy.
The troops ascended Mount William ready for command attack, one of the first simulated assaults the group will engage in.
Have you got eyes on, Jacob? All attackers, get round down! From left to right! Quick left, don't crack right over to the left. 2 figure 12s. Yeah, up over the top. Straight through the main cushion.
This place where we are here is a bit bare arse, so chances are we'd probably move back up the hill into better cover. If there was a depth position, say in them rocks, then the next fire team coming through, Delta fire team, would have had to attack us. Okay? We will be in more speculative attacks, so everyone gets a chance to do the assault inside the lake. Okay, this is just an intro. Yeah. Okay, it's the first time we've done this. It's a bit overwhelming because we haven't done the proper. We will be doing this a bit more often. It went quite good once the gun was working. Communications, fellas, okay? Roar at each other, okay? Especially when it comes to ripple fire.
Is it? I think that's what's wrong with mine. Once I changed magazines, the gun fired alright.
So obviously there's a bit of a walk to talk through.
Slow.
Ross? Where's Ross? Okay, a bit more aggression, mate, okay? You went, you're first in
He's going for a bad crap!
to kill that fucker, okay? Everyone's relying, you need to take that position there, right? Explain it. Helmets back on, fellas.
After a successful first exercise, the FIDF retired back to base to wait and prepare themselves for a late night surprise attack, where an enemy team would simulate a base attack in the middle of the night. When and how the opposition group would attack was guarded with the highest secrecy, as for this simulated exercise the recruits would have to draw upon all they have learnt over the past few weeks of training. Ready to defend their base, the recruits were woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning to the sound of gunshots and paralooms illuminating the sky. The enemy had attacked and were carefully being combated by the ranks of new recruits. Paul came bearing promising news about the opposition they faced.
So who's that down there?
One's dead, yeah, one enemy dead, we're just dragging him in, and one's a POW. And then we'll interrogate him in a bit once the firefight dies off, get any information off him. Probably till first light, yeah, and then we'll get him shift out, yeah, definitely. At the moment it's only a recce force, so we're not too worried about it.
Okay.
But we'll have them tied up. At the moment we've got a 4-man patrol moving east to try and locate the other 2 enemy. But we'll keep everyone else in the perimeter, just in case we get attacked from another direction. We're not sure of the threat from the west yet anyway, so we're keeping guys in the perimeter. We've only got two sections, so we can't commit too many people outside the perimeter, so and we're not sure of the enemy's strength.
Simple things like sleeping in a bivvy bag, if they get a chance to sleep, that is, can be a shock to some people, because people, if you haven't done it before, they're very claustrophobic things, and people don't sleep very well in them to start off with. So one of the first things they face in something like this is a bit of sleep deprivation. Even if they have time to sleep, sometimes they can't. Yeah, it's meant to introduce them to some of the things that we do in the FIDF. It's not really a test so much, but if any of them said, well, that's me, I've had enough, after that, it would be rather disappointing, and it doesn't often happen, but it prepares them really for what's to come and gives them the few basic skills of living in the field and simple military tactics that are necessary for for their progression.
After a hard exercise combating an enemy in the dead of night, the recruits service slightly worn, tired, but ready to continue their training. Marcus Morrison, a returning FIDF recruit, explains how he's finding the first exercise, having already undertaken his training once before.
It's been really good, yeah, it's good to be back. Just getting back into the swing of things again, it's really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So.
And how was the surprise attack last night? Were you expecting it?
Well, we knew something was going to happen, and myself and Ashley went on sentry first, and I just knew, had a god-awful feeling that we were going to get bumped on sentry duty first of all, and we did. So just as we stood to, it started hailing, hammering it down, and I couldn't hear a thing. But it's all part of the fun, isn't it? But night time, we done a patrol as well last night. We had to look for a wire fence. It wasn't until I ran into it that I found it. But yeah, walking in the dark, it's everything, your depth perception and that. There's a couple of peak banks we nearly went over, so you've got to be really careful in that. But like around here, it's really rocky, so when Ashley and I were going to a stand-to position, we had to monkey crawl it up the top because it was just knee-high impossible to stay up with all the kit on. So it is difficult at night time, but you just take it slow and that. And it's really good with blanks, because to be honest, they're useless to fire. So you get used to your stoppage drills a lot, changing mag, things like that. So it really hones your skills. The night attack was really good. It was just everyone all opened up. That's it. You get real buzz, the adrenaline's pumping, and you just want to crack on with it and defend your position. So yeah, definitely the night attack was really good.
Yeah, that's the great thing about being a member of the FIDF. If you want something interesting and challenging to do, it's always there, and usually it's something slightly different.
The first exercise on Mount William proved to be a success, and the recruits were ready to prepare for their first live firing exercise in just 4 weeks' time. They had a lot to learn in order to ensure their fieldcraft skills were proficient enough to successfully carry out the close quarters battle and fire and manoeuvre techniques they would need during the exercise, designed to be the closest thing they would get to a real-life battle scenario.
All the drills we're doing at the moment are very similar, and it's all sort of coming back. But there's a lot of like tactics and foreign manoeuvres, things like that have changed dramatically. Using the Wimics, for example, the quad bikes, they weren't around when I was first joined, so that's going to be a new experience as well. So. But all the weapon drills and that's all coming flooding back. The first time I was 19, and I was in for about 2 to 3 years, and then I had to go to college. So I decided, well, I just didn't have the time to continue with FIDF. And then the second time around I came for about probably a couple of days and realised it had changed so much and I just wasn't ready to come back. And this time now I'm sort of settled in my job, the kids are getting bigger, and I just wanted to do something for myself really, and just to put back really to the community. I hope they don't look on us oldies for any experience in that, because we're still, we've got to be refreshed. But yeah, it's a really good group, and we're bonding really well, so hopefully we'll all stick through it and pass out at the end for Queen and Country.
In order to operate with UK forces, the Falkland Islands Defence Force follows the training of the British Army and attempts to keep up to date with current tactics and techniques.
We follow what's called the Infantry Safe System, which is a system of training and operation where you maximise the training benefits but minimise the physical dangers to people when they're doing training and operation. And it's a very good system as well. It involves risk assessment and all that sort of stuff, especially for live firing tactical training activities. And we believe in the system and subscribe to it, and it allows us to blend in and operate with UK forces on the same standards as they do, which is the vital thing.
Once the recruits proved their competency with the 5.56 Stayer rifle by passing a weapons handling test, they were able to take part in range shooting, firing live rounds. Instructors led the group on a series of shooting exercises which involved firing a rifle from a variety of static and moving positions, individually and in a group. With instructors and more experienced members acting as safety staff, the recruits were able to practice the skills they had learnt by shooting at targets 200 to 400 metres away in a controlled environment.
Just remind you guys, the rail system, you flick the rail system up, you've got 50 at the very bottom. Some of them aren't so clear, I've tip-texted them, but the very bottom is 50 and each one is 50 metre increments. So it's 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350 and so on. Okay? So basically, if you aim at 50, you're looking at the very base like so. If you put the tip of the rail that comes across on the tip of the foresight, or the white dot should line up with the little slats coming across. Some of them aren't that obvious on these. Okay? Likewise, if you're going up to 350, the time you get to 350, you're basically aiming like that, in that position. Everyone understand that? Firmly in the shoulder, good grip, and off you go.
The next few weeks of training saw the recruits introduced to the 40mm grenade launcher, which they will have the opportunity to use in their forthcoming live exercise. Recruits were given a variety of targets placed 100 to 350mm away and were all eager to see if they could aim well first time. Rather than exploding, the practice rounds used by the force for training expel orange smoke when they hit anything, so it's possible to see where they've landed.
That's it, bang on. Good one. If I'm standing, pick 300 and aim slightly lower. Get a forward on here. So if you pick
the recruits found this exercise a lot less nerve-wracking than their lessons using the L109 hand grenade.
You see that? See that spring-loaded catch?
Yeah.
Well, that is held in position by that lever. And when you pull the pin, that spring allows that to flick over. That then ignites a cap in there, which ignites the detonator, which would then explode the explosives in that and fragment the grenade out. They're lethal within about 10 metres, 10 or 15 metres, depends on which ground you're using them in. So if I pull the pin now and just show you the technique, the principle, the grenade is perfectly safe, okay? So if you pull the pin out, it's still perfectly safe, it can't go off at all. But as soon as you let go of that lever, that cap, the lever will fly over, strike the cap, which will ignite the detonator. See? So you can have that grenade, you can hold the grenade all day with a pin out. So, you know, as long as you've got it in your hand, it's not going to go off. The only way it'll go off is if that lever flies. Yeah. And if you decide you don't want to use it, then of course you can just put the pin back in.
With a thorough briefing on the different vehicles that the FIDF owns and a lesson in quad bike driving, the excitable recruits were trained up to head out on their first live firing exercise. Over the last 6.5 weeks, For Queen and Country has seen the eager recruits honing their skills in fieldcraft, camouflage and concealment techniques and weapons handling, all in preparation for their first exercise using live ammunition. With a vast amount of land to choose from, the Falkland Islands Defence Force have little trouble finding suitable training areas. Turner Stream on the Murrell River was the destination chosen for the live exercise, in which the recruits would join the trained and experienced ranks to practice all the skills and techniques they had learnt so far, starting with the art of camouflaging.
I guess you should be alright.
The vast majority around here is this sort of pale white-green grass sort of thing, so it's like a good general purpose. But then if you were up in like a peat bog or something, then it would make sense to change it, otherwise you'd be just like bright white spots of this grass probably. So just obviously to make sure that you're as well concealed as possible, but making sure that it's as close as you can to the sort of material that you're moving through as well, really.
As you can see, I've gone for a bit of white grass. I've got the quiff look. Dan cam up my weapon. I just cammed up his as well, and hopefully this will help us blend in with the foliage around us. Pretty fired up, ready to go. Yeah, just really excited, ready to go for it, yeah.
Medical cover on the day was provided by personnel from Mount Pleasant Complex.
We're here for real live cover, so we're expecting something like if they go down with ankle sprain or something, and in the worst case scenario, a gunshot wound, because accidents happen on the range and stuff, so that's what we're here for. I've been to Afghan twice as a medic, and out there, that's the real situation. So what we do is I go out with a platoon on patrols and stuff, been in contact, and I've actually dealt with casualties on the ground, so it's pretty good experience. But a lot of people say my job is difficult because they cannot watch their friends being shot and injured and stuff, and you got to treat them. It's kind of hard for them, but that's what I was trained for, so I had to prepare myself mentally, physically as well. Like places like Afghanistan, you have to work for each other.
Work as a team.
Work as a team because, we're there as brothers. It doesn't matter if you don't like someone, but whilst you're on the ground, you've got everyone's back, so that's what you need to do.
With only 30 minutes to go, the exercise was drawing closer, so all involved listened to a safety briefing by the commanding officer.
If an incident of some sort occurs, or somebody gets injured or something like that, you'll be told to stop, apply a safety catch and await further orders. If you see anything coming into your range of fire, into your field of fire that shouldn't be shot at, like a person or a cow or anything like that, then apply a safety catch, and if necessary you can say stop yourself to those around you if it's an emergency situation. A lot of this is a big personal responsibility on people. We try and put as much realism in as we can, having this tactical training with live firing, but it's not a competition to see how closely you can shoot the people. The safety staff are there to remind you of the parameters for safety, but if you think there's a danger if I pull my trigger, then don't pull it. Always err on the side of caution. Section commanders, I would remind you, it does get hot. Even though it's a cool day, it does get hot work, so if you do get a brief respite between positions, then remind you guys to have something to drink. And other than that, guys, enjoy yourselves. This is, we've obviously put a lot of preparation into this. Try and make it as realistic as possible. Safety staff are there to guide you on safety, not to dictate tactics and that. They will intervene if there's something, they see something that's going to be quite inconveniently wrong or something like that. But generally they won't distract you, or they'll let you get on and just follow your section commander's orders. So, have a good day. Thank you.
Staff split the recruits evenly into 3 teams on the ground called sections, each made up of 8 people working together to advance towards the simulated enemy using fire and manoeuvre techniques.
Ross! Get back down the cover, mate! Get down! Ross, how much ammo you got?
5.
Good man. Get back on the cover, Mark. What you get to do?
+2 in my bag.
Good.
With more experienced members acting as section commanders and safety staff watching every move, the recruits were guided through the exercise, yet left to their own devices to practice what they had learnt in the previous 7 weeks of training. Sections spread themselves out across the area, keeping note of what each other was doing and where they were with their own personal radio for communication.
Two more enemy. Switch engaging between both. Right.
A fire support group was based in the Wimmix, which had 2 general-purpose machine guns on board, ready to fire when needed. Medical staff looked on as grenades were launched and bullets were fired over the rough terrain. Halfway through the exercise, one of the teams had to stop for medical help due to a member of the trained rank suffering from a knee injury.
I wasn't actually there, but he said as he was going up the riverbank, he slipped and then he's twisted his knee. So I went to see him and then gave him some painkillers, and his knee is pretty swelling up, and then strapped it out for him and then send him over to the fire support group in their vehicle. So he's up there now. He can wait until we get back into camp. It's not life-threatening, so he can wait until we get back and then sort it out. It'll be fine.
The exercise was hard work as each participant had to carry webbing filled with 6 magazines of ammo, along with smoke grenades, their rifle and at least a litre of water over the 2 kilometres of ground covered. However, as the sections decided upon their next move, they had time to readjust their kit and have some food. After 2 hours, the simulated enemy had been defeated and the exercise came to a close, leaving the recruits extremely enthusiastic about the day's events.
We moved forward that rocky ridge over there. We were providing covering fire for another team that moved in from the left flank. They went through a position and then we moved forward. There was 3 sections in total, so we were just taking it in turns to assault a position with the other sections supporting and bringing up the kit and that sort of thing. So we moved through 4 different assaults. We did the second from last one, which is when I threw the grenade and ran in and bayoneted and everything, which is the best bit. And then we had a bit of a reorg at the end there, had a brief chat through what we'd done and then unloaded and walked back up the hill all the same way we came.
The day not only successfully combined all the skills learnt by the recruits so far, but acted as an eye-opener into the realities of using a weapon with live rounds under pressure.
You switch on, you really do switch on. Obviously with blanks you can't kill anyone, but it's still obviously dangerous, but with the live fire you've got to be really switched on, especially with grenades going off and things like that. And like the platoon sergeants and that were really good, making sure our field of fires and all that, and the marshals and that were, you know, really switched on with them. It was really good.
If you spend your life firing blanks, you don't get the same appreciation and throwing grenades. I mean, the first time you throw a grenade, you know, it really is, what are we going to do with this? The timing is not such an issue, but it is making sure that you can actually throw that grenade far enough away so you're outside of the danger area.
It's a bit unnerving because you've got to sort of watch it through the air and like watch where it lands. So you're sort of stood up there watching it when you actually want to get ducked down, but you just got to check that it's not going to start rolling back downhill towards you or anything. It's been really good. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Glad I've taken the opportunity to join up and give it a go.
They did really well. Yeah, there wasn't really too many hold-ups. They're quite fit, but I think that's the purpose of these things, to highlight certain aspects that we're lacking, and there's always fitness, especially doing these section attacks, hard work, even for the really fit guys.
The members of FIDF headed back to the headquarters, where staff and section commanders had the opportunity to debrief their teams on the performance of the day's exercise.
This exercise went really well actually, a lot of aggression, and they were getting stuck in, you know, didn't mind getting wet. Some of them fell in the river and was right up to there, but they're getting on with it, and a lot of aggression, a lot of good skills. It was really good to see.
The training exercise used 60 grenades and more than 10,000 rounds of live ammunition. All that was left to do was clean the weapons in preparation for their next big exercise. At the headquarters of the Falkland Islands Defence Force, Trev discusses tactics with the troops for their latest simulated exercise, an assault on Fipass, the temporary port based in Stanley.
We'll go down, first team that gets there, doesn't matter which one, we'll then secure that area. As soon as the first boat comes in, pilot the boat, nice and low.
The site is relatively unused and makes a great location for the recruits to practice what they've learnt in a safe but realistic environment. The instructors mocked up a rough schematics of Fipass on the ground, allowing the troops to rehearse their assaults prior to the exercise.
What we're doing now is going to do a smallie exercise where we come in by boats, so we're doing the amphibious part as well, land on, and then basically do a rescue, hostage rescue, or no, in fact it's an attack onto a position in the harbour. We're going to use smoke, fire movement, moving through buildings, and then extraction out again. The more times we practice these skills, the better they get at it. At the moment, we're nearly there now. Everybody in the FIDF is just getting this new skill under their belt. The more we do it, the better we're going to get. And the Fipass bit is brilliant because no one uses it. The parts that we use.
It goes loud as we move in, we fucking start shooting from the boat, okay?
2 rigid raiders cut through the water, drawing the assault teams closer to 5 pass for their daytime amphibious assault.
No one uses it, so we can just go into those bits and do what we want, basically, with blank. Obviously we won't do anything live there, but we'll do it blank and we can go through there day, night, amphibious, coming on the boats, things like that, so using snipers and everything as well, so it's a good facility. We can do quite a lot there.
Their mission objective is to clear out the buildings and eliminate any enemy in sight. The group will use recently learned advanced close-quarter battle techniques to clear the main hangar and room upstairs.
Okay, plan B. Well, the first thing is just check the double door. That door waiting. The front, will you come through? you two into there.
Hand on, Jeff. Single action.
Okay, in you go.
Having executed their plan, the assault teams now needed to evacuate the area as quickly as possible, while ensuring the safety of their team, who could be at risk of being attacked by any additional enemy force. Safe and away from the fire-past base, the FIDF jet back across the water to Stanley for a debrief on the exercise.
The greatest asset the FIDF has is its people, and developing them and keeping them interested, bearing in mind that we're a reserve force, can be quite a challenge on most occasions, or some occasions anyway. For recruits coming in, they want to get the berry at the end, so they give it, and we do work them hard. As you've seen, it's 2 nights a week, weekends, and we push them quite hard up until the build-up for the final live firing exercise and the final tactical exercise.
The recruits' 12-week training programme has been leading to today, the final exercise at Rincon Grande, where the recruits will put everything they've learnt from all their exercises, training and mentoring into action. The recruits have already spent one long, hard day in the field. While the recruits plan their attack on the base, the enemy eagerly await them at the unused house at Rincon Grande. The recruits will need to concentrate and be particularly mindful that their opposition may have a few surprises in store for them.
When they're attacking a well-defended position, they should expect the odd booby trap and bit of subterfuge, which frequently happens and would happen in this case as well. You know, you've always got to try and think ahead of who you're working against and expect the worst, prepare for the worst.
I'm just filling up these magazines with blank rounds for the upcoming defence of this position. We're going to be going out and doing patrols, basically looking for the enemy if they're around, and then we've set up trip flares, hopefully with shamulis and stuff like that, so we'll give them a bit of a fright as well if they come over, and we'll get a bit of a heads up whether they're in the area, and then we can advance into contact if they do attack us, and hopefully we'll be able to put them off if they do. They'll be tired, cold, yeah, wet as well. I mean, I did my last exercise many years ago. It was actually snowing at the time, but I remember it was horrendous. Like it was, it was two days, two nights kind of thing, and it was really hard work and a lot harder than the other exercises. A lot more is expected of you because you've done all the training. You've kind of got that bit of knowledge, and you kind of expected to use it more, whereas before maybe you could just kind of follow along, but now you have to kind of step up. It is quite demoralising in a way when the weather is like this, and it makes it harder for us as well as a training purpose. It makes it, if it is really blowing a gale and we can't hear what is going on the radios, you can't hear what's going on with the man next to you, it makes it harder from a training. When you're trying to learn, I think it makes it harder for that aspect. The weather definitely plays a big role in it. I'm hopeful that we can kind of push them back a little bit, because we've got our position here and we're kind of aware that they will probably be coming towards us. So we've kind of got the upper ground with that, and that is a bit odd for them, because it normally is the other way around. I mean, it's going to be very, very dark as well. So I mean, hopefully, if all goes to plan, they will set one of our trip flares off, and we'll get a good warning that they're coming.
That's the point of exercise. There's a few exercises where you find yourself totally caught out and outsmarted by your exercise enemy. Teaches you an awful lot of stuff very quickly, and you do remember it quite well, and so should they.
We basically moved into areas around Douglas settlement by boat, took out targets there, extracted out by boat and vehicles, and then we moved around to the next objective, where we get into a position where we could watch a target and then basically attack it during the middle of the night, and basically sweep up any enemy that were in there and rescue people.
Night fell over the Rincon Grande house, now with the cover of darkness on their side. The recruits will soon make their final attack.
It's realistic in that it sort of practices them in some of the harder sort of disciplines of military life, OPing and attacking an objective. So it's pretty relevant really to the sort of sharp end of what they might be expected to do, and it'll be quite exciting for them. It's pretty wide open countryside here. There's not much cover. Not many bushes and trees around at all for people to hide behind, so yeah, it's going to be quite difficult for the other guys to get up here without being seen. The skills that they'll be using tonight are camouflage and concealment, which will be a real challenge in this sort of countryside with nothing to hide behind, and tactical movement and aggressive action upon their objective. Those are the main things. And of course, for the last few days, they've been observing and reporting back what they've observed. And they've obviously been instructed to, if they do attack us tonight, they will have been instructed to do so by their command.
At around 3 a.m, the recruits led by Trev launched their attack, firing paralooms into the night sky to illuminate their route to the enemy's base. The assault team noticed the coil on the front door laid on by the enemy. The assault disarmed the weapon, enabling them to continue into the house and eliminate their advisories.
I think they've done very well. They're quite an impressive bunch of guys. They seem to get on well together, and they're a force to be reckoned with.
With the final exercise now over, the recruits and experienced FIDF members united to pack away their remaining equipment before heading back to the FIDF headquarters.
It was a hard exercise. By the end of it, a lot of yomping, very little sleep. We had some amphibious stuff as well, where they were actually being inserted by boat, so they were getting wet as well. So they were cold, hungry, wet, and tired by the end of it, and every one of them deserved a good sleep at the end of it, because they were very, very tired. So yeah, it's good, very good, and they all done really well.
Yeah, mate, it's all there.
I'd say they all done well. They're all digging out. It's hard yomping along in the dark, getting to the position last night. We got there. We surprised got into the enemy position quite quickly, which is good, and through it quite quickly. The lads were all over it. Yeah, we've obviously been taught well.
As part of the enemy, we would take over a settlement in a remote part of East Falkland as orange forces, and the blue forces, the recruits, they basically had to come, observe us, find us, and then try and dispose of us. So they had two enemies tonight, not just us, but the weather as well. The weather was atrocious out there, very windy, very cold, and very, very testing for them. They did manage to get quite close in to the buildings that we were occupying before they were spotted, bearing in mind that we're using thermal imagery as well as night vision aids, so it's pretty hard to get past them. But they did very, very well. They got in close enough to cause mayhem, and by and large they did a very good job. I think you've got to have a really good sense of humour to do this, and not let it get you down, and really just get stuck in, listen to what you're being instructed to do, and do it. And they've proved that they can do that. Tonight was a culmination of many months of hard training, a lot of tuition by Colour Sergeant Trev Law and the rest of the training team, and it's all borne fruit tonight, because you've seen what they're able to achieve in a relatively short period of time, to do a very professional attack on a well-dug-in enemy in very harsh conditions with zero visibility, and that training really did come to the fore tonight. They did a really good job.
Although the recruits have now completed all of their basic training, there is still more to learn as they progress up the FIDF ranks. Samantha Brownlee, one of the most experienced females in the Falkland Islands Defence Force, explained what their future holds.
There's still an awful lot to cover. I mean, you're talking about, I think after you've been about a member for about 3 years, then you've covered everything. You know, they still need to do more work with the vehicles, the quads, the manoeuvres and things we use with them. So there's still a lot to cover, but they've done all the basics now. They know what to expect. So the way they've been and what I've seen of them, they'll cope fine with it. Yeah.
Having proudly completed recruit training for a second time, Marcus explains how the training has changed since the last time he enrolled.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of new skills like the break contact drills and stuff like that. It's really good. Yeah, totally different. And of course the sniper stuff, I've only just touched on it, but that was really cool. And the trousers don't really fit me anymore, so I think I'm losing lots of weight. When you've yomped all night to get to the position to attack it, you think, where am I going to get the energy from to attack it? But you get a second wind and away you go. And when you got the robot running around with you, invincible man, it's good. Awesome. In a nutshell, just absolutely awesome. Just adrenaline rush. Absolutely fantastic, you know.
A mere 12 weeks ago, the recruits started their basic training. Now, as fully fledged FIDF members, Trev recalls how they have developed along the way.
Well, like you say, you're looking back at the videos even for first step, it shows the difference from their first night in the field to actually coming in and operating in the field environment tactically. Like I said, they're doing really well. They've still got a few other things to learn as well. They're nearly there. They've done the basics bit. They're just going to advance on to the technical stuff now. Yeah, they'll basically join the team now, a section now. And then hopefully work with them and get all their SOPs, their standard operating procedures together within a section, and start doing more mobility. Like I say, they've done the basics now, so they'll move on to the better stuff now, the more Gucci stuff.
Well, it's always very interesting when you see the Royal recruits coming in. The vast majority have got no military experience whatsoever. Some may have been in Marine Cadets or other forces, junior forces like that, and that does help. But generally they're green, they're raw, they just haven't got a clue about things green and military. So it's nice to see them develop from that Royal recruit into a trained soldier at the end of their recruit cadre. It's very pleasing, it's very satisfying.
It's just great to be back in, to be honest. I'm loving every minute of it. So even though you have a bit of a whinge every now and again when you're out there, but to be honest, it's great fun. Love it. It's good to be back. So.
There's more hard work to come yet. They think that's it. It's not.
Parents and friends gathered in the FIDF headquarters for the pass-out ceremony, which marked the end of the recruits' initial training and the beginning of their careers in the Falkland Islands Defence Force.
Replace headdress.
They faced many challenges along the way, but 8 recruits successfully completed the training syllabus, earning their rank as privates.
When they first came here, the first exercise that we went on, it was basically first step, and it was their first time. Some of them had been in the field, so straight away it was like, oh, what do I do? What do I wear? You know, some people wearing bobble hats, to being very tactical towards the end, and it's good to see them pass out at the end where, you know, you've done a hard exercise, they've come in very tired, and at the end of it, you know, smiley faces still, and still able to crack on if required, and that's what we want at the end of the day, and that's the most rewarding bit. Every one of them, good lads.
You join a very proud and very effective organisation, one of which the Falkland Islands, I know, is proud.
Jacob was one of our best recruits. If we'd have had a best recruit, he would have been the top recruit. He's done really well, very keen all the way through. Ask him to do something, he just gets up and does it. And he's always got, again, a good sense of humour, which is the main thing, you know, a good thing to have, especially when you're hanging out. It's a good thing to have a bit of cheerfulness and adversity and all that good stuff. Biggest thing with Marcus is he's always got a smile on his face. No matter whether he's tired, hanging out, he's always got a smile on his face, he's got a cheeky grin, and he's always got something funny to say. So he's a good character, and training wise we just treat everyone exactly the same all the way through, whether they were a recruit or they'd been in a few years before. Everyone was treated the same, and fair play to him, he wanted to do the whole thing, you know, and just because he could have just done a little bit of it just to refresh himself, but he wanted to do the whole thing to get himself current, which is fair play and good effort.
Squad. We've had a really good batch of people that have joined, and they've worked very hard. They've had really good results, and I hope they'll go on to become dedicated and regular members of the Defence Force, and that they might influence some of their friends and colleagues to take the same step perhaps next year. But generally I think they've been a really great bunch, and they've done extremely well.
People want to be seen now, more than they used to in the past, want to be seen to be in the FIDF, and it's a big deal now for them to join. We've got more respect than we used to have. The people who join want to sort of say, yeah, I'm in the FIDF and I'm proud of it.
I think it's very important for the people of the Falklands to demonstrate that they're willing to do things to defend themselves and not just to rely on overseas forces to defend the islands. And also I think it's an excellent development medium for young people and people that want to sort of develop different skills. And I think it's everybody's responsibility to do what they can, you know, in the defence of their country.
These newly ranked privates have exciting times ahead of them, where they'll be able to develop their own skill sets and strengthen the Defence Force of the Falkland Islands along the way.
We're now going to get them out on their patrolling type stuff. We go around the islands now, mobility with all our kit and equipment, and we project as far as we can, as wide as we can, gathering intelligence around the islands, and the lads will basically slot into that and basically be part of defence of their island.
I told you we shouldn't have brought the film crew on board. It's your fault.
So shall I be lounging back with my feet on the desk? Or,
look boss-like, whatever that is.
Bring the engines up to make sure there's nothing wrapped around it. Don't have any of this on.
I'm just getting shots.
That's just kelp, mate. That's
help. Fucking hell.
What a place for a shag to live. Look at them nesting up there, the brutes. Look.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of interest from the recruitment night?
Yeah, there was a lot. Yeah, there was a few girls there that said they were going to join up and never did. You.
I'll take it.
Alright, so yeah, let's start again.
I've got an inbuilt laser tag on it. Robocop. Wouldn't that be handy?
So I'll just assume you've asked the question again.
Yeah.
Carry on. Yeah.
So now get used to the FIDF bang attack.
So oh no, it's okay.
That's good timing actually.
Yeah, it was good timing after you finished talking. No, it was good. Hello?
I'm a bit close to me, that's why I'm a bit worried about you with that.
Yeah, that's why I've done
Whatever's required. I've said too much here, I don't want to say that. So, could you?
Okay, yes, of course, yeah.
come back.
Push that boy up there, look, Mickey. Last thing you want to be doing is doing a section of
Oh, that's your head fucking thing.
Can you tell us what's in your bag?
Snicker bar. The most crucial thing.
Essential.
And then obviously water as well.
Lime bar.
And that's it.
Chocolate.
Yeah, Snicker bar, bakery sandwich, can of Vimto.
So the recruits have now passed out, and what they basically do now is they've done the basics. They're going to advance now onto the more Gucci type stuff. So in January, February.
Just laughing at Gucci.
Stop it! Take two. Gucci. Oh, I've got to stop now. Right?
Yeah, I was thinking that's a really good last sentence. He was like more Gucci type stuff.
Full stop. Sorry, I need to stop there.
That's okay.
I was getting through it quite quickly. The lads all over it. Yeah, they've obviously been taught well.
And, how do you think the lad?
Oh, fuck it. You got him, Chad? Carry on engaging. Okay, engage!
Agility over the ground, in a lot of mobility, and...
Oh, sorry, we're going to have to do that again.
Sorry. I tried to laugh.
Hello, hello.
Away.
Okay, so before we have guys, the training members just hang around here for the PSI and everyone else will go to the garage. Squat, 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 4, 8. Last one up and down. Okay, so before we have guys, for the training members just hang around here for the PSI and everyone else will go to the garage. Okay. Squat, 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 4, 8. The last one up to put that on
That's really funny.
It's a bootneck word. Jesus. So they'll move on to the better stuff now, the more Gucci stuff.
Okay, so what can the FIDF? I've tried to use this saying of bring to the party in say a situation where there was a conflict.
Oh wait, don't make tea too quickly because we've got to film you, mate.
A bunch of guys, and you know, they're all quite fit.
So what can we bring to the party? Well, we can bring local knowledge.
Sorry, it's my fault because of the bring to the party thing.
You're making me laugh because you're saying bring to the party.
The FIDF can...
Sorry, you can say bring to the party. Okay. I'm system. Sorry, Pete. I'm very unprofessional.